What's up, party people? Welcome to a pre-taped version of SJU that I am hosting for some reason. Today we've got some news. Yesterday, for today, somebody's suing Netflix for Choose Your Own Adventures. That's dumb. Wes Anderson's got a delightful new Fancy Boy movie, and
that's dumb. Okay.
Yeah. And The Purge, but with conservatives, is back on. This is a pre-tape. I got stay for the end. Somebody is going to interview Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm told. That is our junket at the end. But the shitty pre-rendered one, where he looks all janky and terrifying. I got Ed Greer. I got Maggie May Fish. I got you're Billy, right?
Yep. On my better days.
Better days, your Billy business. Let's start off with story number one. According to the Hollywood Reporter, there is a dumb lawsuit. Didn't really have time to get into the details. Do you guys care about the details? Sound off in the comments below.
You don't care about the details.
I do like that the Choose Your Own Adventure company is called ChooseCo, LLC. Oh, I work at ChooseCo. Flip to page 9 to give me.
Do you think that's how their contracts are?
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to have unlimited PTO, go to page 45.
Definitely.
So, it's like, oh, we can't afford you. Sorry.
You fell down a rabbit hole.
My skimming has told me that Fox owns the rights to a movie version of Choose Your Own Adventure. How would that work?
Didn't they do this on Netflix? They tried it.
Yeah, but apparently Netflix actively pursued a license for Choose Your Adventure from ChooseCo. They were denied, or it was already at Fox or something, and Netflix said, well, we'll just not call it that, and we'll come out with Bandersnatch.
Sorry, I mean, it was like, what was the show where wasn't there an episode where it was all...
It was a Black Mirror episode, Bandersnatch. Yes.
Right.
Many of the things that you choose led you to a commercial. Which, after watching it, my partner was like, this is just a prototype, so that when you're watching a Netflix movie, it just takes you to a commercial. Very conspiracy theory. But.
Well, yeah, before we dive into the meat of the story, I want to complain about Bandersnatch, because it wasn't a true Choose Your Own Adventure, or rather, there weren't enough choices. I found that there were so many times where you would make a choice and it'd be like, you died, go back to this, which I guess is a Choose Your Own Adventure tradition. Yeah. But like hundreds of different endings always means like there's 5 different endings. Right. It's just how you get there. Annoying. And yet people want to make more of this dumb idea. So there's a lawsuit. They are looking for money. Discuss. What are the prompts here? There have been other stories to use different paths like this. Does it feel like Netflix/Black Mirror went too far in using Choose Your Adventure?
This is okay, so I do want to point out, I said this before we started taping, and I got very heated because Netflix claims that Choose Your Own Adventure has no artistic relevance.
Okay.
Which I strongly disagree with.
Okay.
In every library, there's a large Choose Your Own Adventure section. Yeah. And my sister and I used to rent it from the library, go home, sit for hours choosing our own adventure. All the stories, very vague, kind of just like tropey trope. But I would say it's a very well-known book series. And for them to say it had no cultural relevance.
Yeah, but should someone own... flip to page X.
Well, this is a little Taco Tuesday. You know what I mean? In regards
Wednesday. It's Wednesday.
In regards to how you own, a phrase or where they're coming. Because I understand ChooseCo has their business and stuff like that, but like, what was... They're licensing the ability to make Choose Your Own.
That's it's been like every early video game was like an RPG. Like look right, look left, open door. This has been around. This is dumb, right, Billy?
Oh, it's so dumb. I think I said this on another SJU, but I'm walking back what I said before, because I said it was dumb before, but now I'm like, this is really the only way it would interest me. When I was a kid, my favorite movie, oddly enough, Apollo 13. My grandma got me a Choose Your Own Adventure Apollo 13 book. She was really wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's Titanic Choose Your Own Adventure. Whoa. So now I'm like, well, I only want historical Choose Your Own Adventures that are are deeply offensive.
Well, but you know what? Okay, let's go with the Titanic one.
Okay.
It should not be choose your own adventure. It's choose your character. Like, I want to read what the rich lady with the opal diamond on her neck.
That'd be fun, yeah.
You get into an escape boat.
Yes,
they
you
help
do.
you. Okay, dude working down in the coal mine, shoveling coal. It's like, you die.
Yes.
And then guy next to him, you die too. You die too. So many of them are just you die. But yeah, class conscious versions of that would be the only thing that choose your.
Or
own
you
adventure.
go like full Quentin Tarantino, and it's like, oh, everyone was saved, I guess. It
See,
never happened.
that's the Apollo 13 one.
Nothing bad happened.
The Apollo 13 one 100% ripped off the series finale of Family Matters, where you are a kid who invents gravity in space, and they take you up in Apollo 13
Wait,
with
that
your
happened at the end of Family Matters?
Oh yeah, Urkel went to space. That's the end of Family.
Did he ever come back?
It was a close call. It was a two-parter, man.
Again, we still call it jumping the shark when that happened. That seems like
Yeah, we should call it
Yeah.
Urkel to space.
This show sent Urkel to space in season 3.
There's also a new streaming service that is all centered on choosing.
No.
Yes. Yeah. My
Wow.
friend
Choose Co
wrote-
Plus.
Choose Co Plus. So this, if it's gonna be a whole like genre, then
I don't want to work for my entertainment. No thanks. Like, if I have to like constantly be like, oh yeah, that one, oh yeah, that one, just tell me the story. I don't want to have to engage that much.
Well, as a writer, though, like that's half of the process of writing, right? Is finding all the different ways it could go, finding out why they suck and they're dumb and
choose
don't
for them.
elucidate your
Right,
theme,
right.
and then you choose the best one. So this is like, are you a writer who wants to do 1/16 of 50 bad stories instead of one good story? Then you would like to do this.
Oh, cool.
That's awful. That's so awful.
Oh, well, guys, you have a choice when it comes to a bunch of nerds sitting around a desk talking about pop culture. But you chose this one, so thanks.
more?
Thanks, y'all. And thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, turning on notifications, commenting, and hitting that bell. God damn it.
It's a pre-tape, man.
right there.
You
The
had
bell's-
all the time in the world.
Come on over, ring the bell. Other things you can watch on Fandom is the Joker is thank you gets a real life lawyer to defend him. I think we're doing some more of that kind of thing.
We are. We have another one coming up this weekend. So right now you can watch how they would defend Joaquin Phoenix Joker. This weekend, how a lawyer would defend Heath Ledger's Joker.
Awesome. And then you can
Insanity.
also they try. They,
It's
it
not
might
as
work.
easy as you think.
Yeah. It's tough. When Joker asks for help, it means he's not insane. So
Hot diggity.
tough.
Yeah.
Damn. He got away. Don't worry, Batman will
Down
break
for
his neck.
future use.
We also have an Oscars-themed movie fights. If you still have Oscar fever, quench it with our movie fight about the tepid, lukewarm water that was this year's Oscars. But some hot water coming out. The Hunt is afoot again. This, according to The Hollywood Reporter, this is a movie that I vaguely remember seeing a trailer for, where the elites, they're coming to get you. They're going to take you. They're going to make you hunt each other. They are kidnapping deplorables, quote unquote. And it's the Hunger Games with Republicans in the middle and I guess Jeff Bezos types on the outside. So
I feel like this was a direct-to-DVD with Stone Cold Steve Austin. They did the exact same plot as this.
yeah, I
The
mean-
Condemned, I think it was called.
but-
It was like
okay,
exactly the same.
Okay.
the news story, before we discuss,
Yeah,
the news
yeah.
story is this got pulled due to, I assume, doo-doo, a letter writing campaign or whatever, the tweeting campaign.
Paper?
And then,
Who's got paper?
yeah, the audience for the people who get mad at this. And then this is back. The Hunt is back. What do y'all think? The Hunt's getting released. Do we care?
Okay. Well, I just want to make it very, very clear. Damon Lindelof wrote this script, so it's not just Jimmy Jack Corn and whoever, whatever the people who write riff track style movies, you know what I'm saying? And Jason Blum did not make this. Damon Lindelof, who has a pretty good.
Jason Blum actually did make this.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm saying it isn't just Jason Blum and the regular cast of like, your watch is haunted. Whoa! It isn't made. It isn't made in that factor. In the same, it's like your social media is gonna kill you. It's not that same style of movie. Okay, I just want to make that clear that it's got a greater lineage in regards to its writing. And as we saw from Watchmen, Damon Lindelof can take things that America's going through right now and distill them, or have a staff distill them into a pretty great product. So that's one thing. I got nothing else. I think this probably should have got pulled. All the bad stuff that happened.
Okay.
I mean, I think it was never going to be a good time to bring this out, though, given the themes, is what I'm saying. Because, watch, when they decide to release it, something else bad will happen in the country,
What I'm confused.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I don't even think, this idea, it seemed very sensational, but this is kind of like a tried and true, it is a type of film that we have seen come up again and again.
5 Purge movies.
Yeah, 5 Purge. I mean,
Hostel is
Hostel.
yeah.
It seems very, I don't even want to say tame, but it kind of just we kind of been here, done that. I'm not very shocked or surprised by it. So,
I'm just confused because, I've seen the trailer, and the idea, so this apparently was pilloried, love that word, pilloried, by Fox News and assorted media outlets like that. So it's like the people being hunted are the good guys, which is what's confusing me. You see the trailer, it's not like it's pro hunting people for sport. The good guys are the ones being hunted, so why the outrage?
Yeah, exactly. And is there something, I think maybe they were concerned that the big twist would be that crappy Republican people were behind it as something, you know what I mean? It wasn't just cut and dried that these bouncing babies on their knees with banjos type people were these lionized figures in the end, because I think that a lot of people thought that the Hollywood elite was doing what I just did, which is make fun of the middle of the country. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Okay, I could do that.
Kansas City, Kansas?
No, Kansas City, Missouri.
Do you know Jimmy Crack Corn personally?
I know Corn Pop.
Do you care? Do you care?
No, I know Corn Pop. Me and Joe Biden were talking like Corn Pop down at the pool. Gotta have my pops. So yeah, all I'm saying is it seems there's probably more to it than liberals hunting conservatives. Right. There's probably more to the conspiracy, and I think the powers that be, unfortunately, looked at this and said they don't even want to hear it. They don't want to hear liberals' depiction of conservatives, nor do they want to see conservatives are secretly the bad guys of the movie. They didn't want to see any of that going on, and of course, violence, a shooting had happened at the time. A very well publicized shooting. So,
it's back. Are we going to see it now? Has this helped its hype, or are we going to pass?
I'm going to be at the back of the theater watching this. Opening weekend, back in the theater.
Look, I love the Purge franchise, and the Purge has only gotten more and more political in the sense that it's now the Purge prequel with the housing, public housing purge and stuff and horror movies have always been, if not political, then at least influenced by the politics of the time. Back to Invasion of the Body Snatchers during the
Night of the Living Dead.
It's a very safe place to be political.
Yeah.
I feel like the best if you are kind of excited about this movie, or the best version to me, which is what I was looking up, is Peter Walken's Punishment Park. I think is my favorite version of this type. It kind of brought about the mockumentary style, but it's basically Hunger Games, but very realistic, very impactful, it's very good. It's a very good movie. It's very moving, very disturbing, but I think it does everything that these movies try to do. It's my favorite movie.
Yeah, and if you want to see one from the other political perspective, you can watch Murder Party by Jeremy Saulnier. A lonely guy gets a flyer to go to a party, a Halloween party, and he shows up, and there's just these artists, and they're going to kill him for art and document it. And so it's about him being like, I was just lonely. Like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? And the whole fallout of like what type of person is so effete that they would believe that they can hunt somebody.
I will definitely watch it. He's the guy behind Green Room, and,
Blue Ruin, and Green Room.
Yeah, right. Yep. Sweet. Okay. Well, pivoting to the exact opposite, truly the exact opposite in film. Wes Anderson has a new delightful little film for you. It's perfectly symmetrical, and it's called The French Dispatch. Perfectly symmetrical. Yes, it's perfect. Every little thing in its place. So he's coming out with a movie based on a fictional weekly magazine that is inspired by The New Yorker. I'm bored. Look at that. Look at that shit. Oh, I knew it. I knew there'd be some symmetry. So yes, an ode to anachronistic, like out of use technology from Wes Anderson, full of French people and Wilson brothers. What more do you want? There's a little old timey bicycle. A guy's in a beret. A pharmacie. So it's in a made up French metropolis called Ennui sur Blasé.
Oh my lord.
Called Frenchy McBaguette. And at some point, it's about the New Yorker if it were French. The prompt Ryan helpfully wrote prompts.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
So, is this what would make this more Wes Anderson-y to you?
You sound like the people the elites were hunting.
Come on, look. I thought that the Grand Budapest and like Isle of Dogs were like steps sort of out of his comfort zone, like where he retained his essential Wes Anderson-ness, but like he was building on that. And this seems like, this is like the cooked crack rock of Wes Anderson. Like down to just the hard stuff of an old French magazine based on the New Yorker.
This is the ice of Wes Anderson. I was a sucker for early Wes Anderson, and then I hopped off right when he started. Like I've hopped off in ZZU because I didn't like the use of CG, and I felt like it weirded it out. I loved his people's production design and stuff. So like Royal Tenenbaums, which was the one with the black person in it. Royal Tenenbaums and Rushmore got me. I did not like Bottle Rocket because I was like, whoa, this is one step from being like the Joker. like the way he's like lusting after the maid and just like putting his identity in that, and then all this kind of entitlement to a lot of the characters. I was just like, ooh. But then Rushmore was cool because I had that experience being like the poor kid in a private school. I dug that and trying to overachieve, trying to try so hard to look like you belong, even though maybe you don't. I loved all that, and being a young writer. So like I liked those two, and then I hopped off for a long time. So maybe this will get me back in the fold.
Yeah. I have a very similar experience with Wes Anderson. I love his early work. I also love symmetry. And whenever I make anything, it's gonna be. Something about it is so artistically satisfying to me. But yeah, like Darjeeling Limited was just like.
Yeah, I liked Fantastic Mr. Fox. The distance.
That is my favorite movie of all
That's the joint,
time.
right? Where they're eating and it's like.
The comedy in I love it. It might be one of my favorite movies, but also it is almost un-Wes Anderson-y. I think the stop motion gave
a distance
that I think really serves him. So I'm curious. It's less colorful than his other movies, which I usually enjoy colored movies. That's like color palettes are a thing that I look for. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Billy, you're the biggest Wes Anderson fan at this table. What's your take?
Well, I was trying to think. I would rather listen to Ed filibuster purely in metaphor about He-Man in an unair-conditioned room in August than have to watch a Wes Anderson movie.
Wow. Okay, not for you. Not fond of it.
Every time that I try to watch a Wes Anderson movie, it turns into like a 4-day affair because I have to watch in like 10-minute chunks and then just take a step back.
But Billy, they're full of jokes that you aren't supposed to laugh at. Where you're like,
I remember trying to watch the Royal Tannenbaums, and about halfway through, I was like, I can't tell if I'm more bored or they are. Like, they look like they'd rather be anywhere else but in that movie.
they have affluenza. It's a serious disease that affects Upper West Side New Yorkers. Okay?
No, it's Wes Anderson is a hard pass. I will take any other Anderson on the planet than Wes Anderson.
Paul W.S. Anderson.
I'll do a full day marathon of W.S. Anderson. I will watch every direct-to-video POS he put out, then watch one more Wes Anderson movie in my life.
I like him. I like that he gets to make the movies he wants to make, which is very rare. And
That is so cool.
He's
That
very
is one thing that
talented.
is
It's just
very
not
cool.
for.
he
it's
has
just
a
not for
voice,
me.
and I was just the description of this sounds like a step backwards to him, to me. It's just a description, because I also don't care about the New Yorker. It's like they do profiles of like the third least inbred Rockefeller for like 17 pages. I'm supposed to care, but if he does, that's great. He gets to make the movies he wants about the things he wants, and if this is where his passion takes him, right on, you crazy horse. These metaphors.
I'm sorry, it's infecting you. it's coming. But I could see that point of view, you guys. But me and Maggie
We'll just
are
have our own party.
effete elites.
Yes.
Okay, is your gun loaded? Because we gotta check these guys out.
In college, I had a Wes Anderson Valentine's Day party where I sent out invitations like, "You are invited." Period.
That sounds like my own personal hell.
Billy's like, "Where's all the Star Wars stuff around here, man?"
Valentine's
There's nothing
parties
of that
and
here.
Wes Anderson are three of my most hated things, all in one.
Oh, amazing. How are we doing on time, Ryan?
You're good.
We're good. Well, I'm done. So we're gonna cut to the old Sonic interview. Stick around for that. But before then, outro yourselves. Tell them where to find you.
Okay, Reboot It YouTube channel. Me, Billy Business, and the guys from Nerd Goat. We reboot franchises in about an hour in one take. So yeah, it's as dangerous as you think it is. And Nerd Goat podcast and at Edgar Destroys on Twitter, as you guys know.
Yeah, you think I pulled that filibustering in a hot room out of nowhere?
It seemed like there was a grain of truth to it.
Definitely from those rebooted sessions.
Well, there was a lot of bustering going on over there too, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Maggie.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, just my name. And then you can check out my YouTube channel where I break down movies from a hopefully interesting point of view. Very interesting point of view.
I hear it's very interesting.
Good stuff.
I hear all her videos are shot symmetrically.
They are very
Dead center.
symmetrical. I do care a lot about the aesthetic, so at least you'll like what you see, you know?
You're not going with like just the one little stack of DVDs in the corner and a couple Funko Pops?
Man, like it would be better for my bank account if that's what I was doing, but it just doesn't feed my creative
Nice.
outlet.
Well, links are in the description below. Billy Business?
Reboot it. It's really, if you want to see me and Ed like legitimately get into it, this Star Wars Reboot It is about as close as it gets.
All right. Sweet. Yeah. Well, you can find me in the club. Bottle full of love. Mommy, I got the X if you're into doing drugs. Here's Sonic. See you tomorrow.
Sonic.
This is my power, and I'm using it to protect my friends.
So, you had previously started in Hop, and now you're starting in Sonic. I feel like this is like an extremely useful skill to have these days, acting across a CG character. If you were to tell another actor their advice on how do you do that, what comes to mind first and foremost?
I got the jump before everyone else did. I was like, these CGI characters and live action are going to fuse together. So
Right.
like start doing the Who Framed Roger Rabbit stuff. The fun thing about it is you do get to tap into like your inner kid and use your imagination and like you jump into the sandbox and like you kind of have an imaginary friend, right?
Yeah,
So you trust that the voice actor, whoever's cast as the voice, is gonna do his thing and gonna be funny. On Hop, it was Russell Brand, who I obviously knew, who was hilarious and really intelligent, and this is Ben Schwartz, who crushes the role and brings such like innocence and curiosity and fun and sarcasm and confidence to the role. So when you're doing the roles, you just have to pretend like there's a real person there. You just have to know that. Try not to overcompensate that nothing's there or no one's saying anything back to you.
Right.
And just trust that it's going to be like you're talking to an overactive, like 12-year-old kid.
Let me show you how it's done.
You've done plenty of voiceover work, and sometimes you're in isolation doing that work, but the beginning of this movie is interesting because Sonic is in isolation, and he is talking to himself a lot. He's doing a lot of voices. Yeah. What was that like for you to really get to play a bunch of characters within one character, and I'm guessing, were you doing a lot of riffing?
Yes, I was. The way you described it made me feel like I'm like the Tom Hanks and Castaway version of voiceover actor,
Sort of, yeah.
where I kind of am always by myself. It was fun, and also there are scenes where I do get to play like different versions of Sonic. There's a baseball scene where I'm pretending to be 6 or 7 different versions of Sonic.
Right.
And it's been so fun, but of course, how much fun if I got to see Jim Carrey, be Jim Carrey and stuff like that. But for me, I'm very comfortable in that booth because I love doing animated VO. It's always been something that I've been excited about. So I get real comfortable in that booth by myself. I feel like as an actor and a voiceover actor, you get comfortable in that world, and once you get that little bit of comfort, then you really get to try stuff out and riff and see what works.
Road trip? Whoop, whoop.
This is sort of like the pure Jim Carrey performance what we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
What was it like working with that energy? And I'm assuming anything goes,
I mean, to put it really succinctly, it was, I might as well have been sitting there on his coverage, like when the camera's on his close-up, holding a bag of popcorn, because he's a comedic hero of mine. I grew up watching him in Living Color and his stand-up and obviously Dumb and Dumber and all the movies, Ace Ventura. So I grew up like emulating him, like wanting to be the guy. And so to share the same frame and to be on the same set as him and actually have dialogue with him and punch him in the face and receive a punch in the face from Jim Carrey, it's like career bucket list check, yeah.
I just thought you might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk.
Dr. Robotnik's is not just a clever name, he's a master of robots. What would he think of Westworld?
First he would berate all of them, I think, right? I think he has to make sure he's the alpha. I want to see that movie. I want to see Dr. Robotnik in a full-on Western getup.
Whatever this creature is, I'm going to uncover the source of its power.
Yeah. You mentioned that it's crazy that you are Sonic, but it's like looking at your IMDb right now, it's like you're also Leonardo, you're also Dewey Duck.
Yeah.
Is it this strange thing that you're playing these characters that go back generations that we all grew up with? Do you get used to it, or is it a little still like, that's really odd?
You never get used to it, but those are the things I watched, man. Growing up, I was a huge Disney afternoon person, so I was watching DuckTales every single day with David Fernandez. Then we would play Sonic the Hedgehog, you know what I mean? And Turtles was a way of life. Those were my first action figures I ever had. So it's crazy that I get to encompass these characters, but also it makes me really happy that maybe a kid like me who loved watching these cartoon shows is watching these versions and kind of getting the same thing out of it I got. Because I think a lot of my creativity came from video games and cartoons and Calvin and Hobbes growing up.